What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be a full-on Kylin One Click overview and guide. If you didn't know already, Kylin One Click is a Gmail farming tool as well as a toolbox, just like AYCD or Essentials or Wraith if you have it. I've been using Kylin for about 2 months. I've switched out of Essentials into Kylin and I have not looked back since. It's really a great tool. It definitely trains my Gmails very well and efficiently, but it is a little bit hard to set up and a little bit difficult to understand when you just get it. So I'm going to be walking you guys through the process of how you can set up and start training your Gmails, along with how you can set up some profiles, cookie generation, and just other stuff like that. So stay tuned to the video and thanks for checking it out. The first thing you should do after getting Kylin One Click is to load your proxies into the tool so that you can use them for farming. Simply, you can just create a group. I've made a group named Test by clicking in the bottom left corner. This is the proxy tab, is the 4th tab over on the top, and you just click it. So I have this group and I'll just add some proxies to it. This is obviously a fake group and I'm not going to add real proxies, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to add like 2 random proxies with random numbers. Click save and it should load into this group. So you can test your proxies by clicking this test button. Obviously it'll say error, but if you have working proxies, it should give you a latency of your proxy. So like something maybe like 300 milliseconds or lower. If the lower the better. And yeah, so you should have your proxies tested and your proxies all loaded into the tool so that you can be ready to create your Gmail farming tasks. You can copy your entire list by clicking this copy button. You can also clear the bad ones. So if I clear the bad one, it'll clear out the one with the error. You can also remove all the proxies, and then you can also edit over here by editing the title of the group and also the type of the proxy which you want to use static. That's going to be it for the proxies section. As long as you have your proxies all loaded, then you should be ready to go to the next step. After loading your proxies into the toolbox, the next step is going to be to add your Gmails. So on the 7th tab over from the top, there's an accounts section. So the accounts is where you're going to load all of your Gmails in. I've created a test group over here for the sake of the video, and I have 1 test profile in right now. If you want to add another Gmail, simply click this plus button. This is going to be the ID of the Gmail. You don't have to worry about this. The group, it's going to be automatically in the test group because that's where I'm creating it. The type is going to be a Google account. That's the only option. The username or account is going to be your Gmail. So if it's like test@gmail.com, I'll enter that. And the password, let's just say 1234, enter that. And this stuff, if you have a security answer, aux account, or recovery email, you can enter it, but you don't really need it if you don't have one. I'm just going to leave it blank. And then this YouTube switch over here is going to be if you want to watch YouTube on this Gmail. So if you have like a limited Wi-Fi plan and you don't want to watch YouTube, then you can just switch this off and this Gmail won't watch YouTube. But it's better to have it on because YouTube is one of the primary ways to farm your Gmails. So you'll just click save. And since I already added it over here, then it'll stay. If you click this, you can see that there's a 1 click and score status. You don't need to worry about that for now because we'll go on to that in the farming task section. So don't worry about that. As long as it's set, then you should be good to go. The next step, which is the main part of the toolbox, is going to be the Gmail farming section. This part is very important and it can get a little bit tricky because it's a little bit weird to set up, but it's actually pretty simple if you think about it. So just follow along with this and you'll be ready to go. The first thing you can do is to create a group. I've made a test group just for the sake of this video again. And I have an account added just so I can have this group made because you need an account to make the group. But let's say I want to add another account. I have this account set, so test@gmail.com, which is what I made earlier. And then I have this proxy 1111, which is just a random proxy I made for my proxy list. You can click this to select more of your proxies, which I'm not going to do because I have other proxies loaded on. But You can also select the group. So this is going to be my test group. And obviously this is one of my proxies in my test group. So you can just click the proxy that you want to farm with. And then for this, I just have it on sync to farming, but you can switch it up if you need, but I just leave it on the default. You can also name the task, so I just have it as test, and the group, which is the group of where your Gmails are going to farm. So you can have different groups. So say you have like V3 Gmails, you have V2 Gmails, you want to separate them, then you can name them like V3 or V2. And the tags, you don't really need to worry about. I just leave that blank because it'll tell you the scores anyways. So I have this enabled right now because I want it to be able to farm. If you don't want it to farm and you want to use like a spoof browser or something, you can disable it. And requeue on failure means that if it fails to log in, then it'll retry after there's like space that opens up. But I just have this off because usually you won't get any failures if everything is set up correctly. For the farming section, I just leave everything on default. I have all of this checked, but if you don't want to do anything like this, so let's say you're using your personal Gmail to farm, which I do not recommend, and you don't want a bunch of random emails from subscribing to the news, then you can just switch this off and it won't subscribe to the news. If you don't want to watch YouTube, then you can turn this off. If you don't want to read the news, search images, or search, then you can turn these all off. For the proxy group and proxy part, you don't need to worry about because you already set it up in the basic part. But if you want to use like this is basically just an advanced feature if you want to like create your tasks in an advanced way. But the basic way is just pretty simple, and that's what I do. So simply click save, and it will make a new farming task. After successfully creating your Gmail task, the next thing to do is to worry about the miscellaneous settings and the miscellaneous buttons. As you can see, there's a lot of buttons on this page, and you might not know what everything means. So I'm going to go over it real quick. So simply over here, this is the main thing you need to worry about. This is how you start your farming task. So you just click this to start it. It's going to say ready, and then it's going to say bad proxy for me because this is not a real proxy, but it should go from ready to, if it's your first time, it'll go to like subscribe news, and then it'll log in and then start watching YouTube or reading the news or whatever. And as long as it's doing an activity, then you should be good. If it's on taking a break, that's also good. It just means that the bot is just taking a break and it's letting the Gmail rest because that is essential to building up your Gmail trust score. This button over here, the refresh button, if it fails somehow or something goes wrong, then you can click this, but I've never had to use this because everything's gone smoothly for me. This I button over here to view. If you're farming and you want to see what exactly your tasks are doing, then you can click this and it'll pop up a little browser that you can click and you'll see what exactly you're doing. So if it's watching YouTube and you want to see what video it's watching, then you can just click this, but I wouldn't really worry about it because it's not that important. This camera thing, you don't need to worry about at all. I mean, if you really want to use it, then you can, but you really only need this start button and the edit button if you input a wrong proxy or something and you want to switch up your settings, then you can fix it there. And then this button over here will let you have a lot of options to do. So if you want to log in manually because it's not working, you can simply click manual login. If you want to test the health of your Gmail, click health test, select which one you want. So a V2 checkbox, V2 invisible, V3 score, and then you can run. Next up is going to be the reset health status. So usually you won't need to test your health because it'll automatically do it for you once in a while. So this health status will update on its own. It may take a few days, may take a week, but it will update. So you usually do not need to test your health unless you really want to. The reset health status will just clear it and turn it back to nothing so that it can retest again later, which is not very necessary. And then this stuff over here is not very important unless you want to clear your cache or your storage, then you can just clear it. But I wouldn't worry about this too much unless you're really running out of space, which shouldn't be happening. Last but not least, for the farming section, is going to be the bottom bar and the top bar of the page. So the bottom bar, obviously the green check mark, is going to be to create a task. The edit button, you can mass edit, which isn't really used that much because you can just edit each task by itself. If you want to start all your farming tasks, you can click start all and it'll start all of the ones in the group. If you want to stop all, then it'll stop all of the farming tasks in the group. If you want to remove all the accounts in a certain group, then click remove all. And then this stuff is going to be like testing health and hiding all of this stuff, all the information for all of your accounts in this group. If you want to import your profiles from somewhere else, for example, AYCD, or if you have a bot that supports it, then you can simply import and select the file, and it will import all of the Gmails stored in your file into this page. If you want to export your Gmails, then simply click the export button and it'll export all of the ones on the page into a file. Down here, the colors, this is a pretty important thing. It's located in the Discord if you want to check again, but basically the green check mark is going to be a one-click, a complete one-click V2. The blue check mark means that you'll have an invisible one-click, which is used by Supreme. The green circle means you have a 0.9 Gmail. The blue circle means you have a 0.7 Gmail, and the red means anything under that. So if you have a red one, then you might want to consider swapping out your Gmail or swapping out your proxy. It should be blue and green, and just be patient with it. Let it farm up. It may take a few days, it may take a few weeks, it may take months, but just keep farming. Consistency is key, and just be patient with it. Now this top bar, if you want to view all of your tasks at the same time, click this and it'll show you what you're running. So it'll show, like, if this one's watching YouTube, it'll show YouTube. If it shows this one watching the news, then it'll show what it's watching on the news. And then simply click this other button to go back. This real-time button, basically for if you want to see your task status. So if you have real-time, then it'll update every like 3 or 4 seconds and show you exactly what you're watching. If you have it on smart, then every time you click this actual icon, then it'll pop up and show you what you're doing and update. These other two, manual, if you want to just do it manually, or disabled, means it won't show you anything, which may save some space, and it might save some lag on your computer. I just usually keep it as real-time or smart. It doesn't really matter too much for me because I have enough space, but if you need it, then you can adjust as needed. That's going to be it for the farming section of Kylin. Just make sure, again, that you're patient. Make sure that you farm every day and rest once in a while. Like farming on weekdays and resting on the weekends is usually what I do. Or farming Monday through Saturday, resting on Sunday. Something like that. Just find what works for you, develop a schedule, and just stay consistent with it. And that is the key to successfully farming your Gmails. The next part of Kylin is going to be the Spoof browser. Spoof is pretty useful for a lot of sites such as Snipes or for any Qt sites that your bots won't support. You can simply just make a lot of spoof tasks, and you can monitor them easily by seeing the status of each task, and you can get through the queue pretty easily. The first step to creating a spoof task is just to simply, again, click this green check mark, the green plus button in the bottom left corner. You can select your site. So there's no sites preloaded. I just typed in Walmart for the title. But if you want to say like Snipes or something, and the URL is snipes.com, or that's not the actual URL, but just for the sake of this video, you'll just save and you can select Snipes. For the proxy, I'm just using my test proxies because I'm not going to use my real proxies because I got to keep them private. But if you want to add proxies, you can just add them in here and save and just click the proxy you want to use. For profiles, if you want a profile, I'm not completely sure what the profile option really does, but for spoof browsers, usually you'll just check out manually, so I just leave this blank. CAPTCHA, I just leave as auto, just default, because usually you'll be fine. And then CAPTCHA groups, you don't really need to worry about this other stuff. Task count, how many tasks you want to create. So let's say you have like 5 proxies, you want 5 tasks, then just select 5. And I just leave this other stuff off because usually you won't really want these stuff on, and click save. It'll prompt you with this, and you just click OK. So now I have 5 spoof tasks set up, and I can start spoofing the cues when I need it by simply clicking this button to play. It'll just simply start it. It'll say bad proxy because I'm using a fake proxy, but you can do that. And then you can also click this button, the same as in farming, to view all of the status of your spoof tasks so that you can see if one gets through. It'll display an image if you use real time, which I suggest you do, and it'll show like the queue moving or if you got through. And yeah, this part's going to be pretty useful. They did add it pretty recently, so I'm excited to use it out. I have not used it. Excited to try it out. And yeah, so it's going to be similar with the remove all and the edit buttons, similar to the farming tasks. So you can plan accordingly if you need it. And you can also import and export these spoof tasks. So that's going to be it for the spoofing section of Kylin. Next up is going to be the cookie generator part and the cookie harvesters in Kylin One Click. So this is going to be the third bar over on the top left. You can just simply click this and it'll pop up with all of these sites that you can generate cookies on. I'm going to use Easy Supply for an example. If I want to generate cookies, then simply I'll just edit this and select my proxy group. So if I select my proxy group, just leave all this stuff to default because usually it'll be correct. And then I can just click this play button and it'll start harvesting cookies. Make sure that your proxy company will allow cookie generation because you don't want to get your proxies clipped. But it's going to harvest and then this number should go up. It may take a while because it's Easy Supply, but if you just keep it running, it should be good. You can generate it for all these sites, size, JD, finish line, foot sites if you need it, if they don't have Datadome enabled, Adidas, all these sites that you can utilize to your advantage. And you can simply import your cookies too, and you can also export your cookies by clicking this button and exporting to the file that you want for your bot. So simply click format. Let's say I have Phantom. I'll just select the site too. So let's say Adidas US Phantom, and then select the file that you want to export to. So just click this button. Start time, end time, you can just leave blank. And then the count of proxies you want to export. So let's say I have 200 cookies and I want to export all of them. Just do 200. If you want to delete all of the cookies after you export, simply just click this delete button and then simply export. That's going to be all for the cookie generation. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just have to click this edit button, add a proxy group, and you should be good to go. Next up is going to be the settings. The settings, usually you just want to leave to default, but if you really want to have like custom settings and custom farm times, then you can do it. The most important stuff is probably going to be up here. Sleep accounts at night is necessary if you want to keep your Gmails healthy. Having this off will make them farm overnight, which does not look human. So just have this on if you're going to run it 24/7. And then automatic health test. I have it on. It's very helpful. It'll automatically test your health for you so that you don't over-test by accident or something. It'll just automatically test once in a while. It may take a few days to update, but you should be good if you have this on. This automatically clear browser cache and always clear. This is if you have like low RAM or CPU and your usage is pretty high, then you might want to have this on so that it can clear the like the cookies and cache of the Gmail account that you're farming so it doesn't take up too much space. But if you're not worried about space, then you can just have these off. And then run duration, you can just set this duration to whatever you want. So if you want it to do activities for 45 minutes to 3 hours, 4 hours maybe, then you can have it like this. And if you want it to sleep for 1500 minutes between this and this, then it'll sleep for that long. But usually you just want to keep it on default, so just click reset and it'll reset to the default settings. For the notification part, you can just simply enter your Discord webhook if you want like updates to your farming status. So if it tests for you and you get a 1-click, it'll send it to your webhook and it'll say 1-click status changed and you got a 1-click. Thank you guys for watching the video. I hope that this helped you out a little bit with your Kylin usage. If there's anything else that I'm missing, or if there's anything else you need help with, be sure to leave a comment down below and I'll try to help you out. If you have any suggestions or any ideas for future videos, be sure to leave a comment as well, and I will get to them. I will be linking Kylin's Twitter down below so that you can watch for restocks. It's definitely a great tool, and it's definitely something you want to have if you're a sneaker botter. And other than that, thank you guys for watching. I would appreciate if you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It would really mean a lot. And I will see you guys in the next video.